we saw people dying that could have been saved if we could only use this research, and actually applied it and been able to use it. That this is what the doctor ordered for Bahamas.
Focus this Monday, September 9th at 8:30 p.m. only on ZNS TV 13.
Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rule. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news today marked the start of the 2013-2014 academic year, and according to educational officials, public schools on Grand Bahama opened without a hitch, despite the threat of industrial action at a local primary school. Sabrina Brown has our top story.
Deputy Director of Education Sandra Edgecombe says when Maurice Moore Primary opened its doors on Monday morning, all was calm, although that public institution did not have the full complement of teachers.
I haven't gotten a count of the teachers who are here, but they are teachers who are visible, teachers who are in the classrooms. We got Ministry of Education personnel, we've got the contract workers, and so as you can see, there's not a child milling about this campus. Every child right now is in a classroom. They're being supervised.
We understand that some teachers did not show up to school until late Monday morning following a union meeting. As expected, Edgecombe says there is still a challenge with overcrowding in some areas of the public school system.
Not particularly in the primary schools, because some schools had small numbers. For instance, Freeport Primary, their classes might not have been those big, overwhelming classes, so they certainly could have accommodated some students. But the principals and administrators have been most helpful in trying to find that extra seat. Now, there's always a difficulty in the senior high because you remember that 10th graders begin to specialize in their areas, and so if the hotel and catering department can only hold a certain number of students, then certainly that creates a problem, and students then have to go to their second or even their third choice.
Edgecombe says after examining the results of the national exams, reading will once again be a major focus of the Ministry of Education on Grand Bahama.
As we look and examine our GLAT and our Rigby Read and even the BJC and the BGCSEs, we realize that a lot of our students, it's not that they don't know the information, but it's how they recall it, how they apply it, that becomes difficult for some of them. And so our teachers are continuing what they started in building the reading programs in the primary school. We're calling for more remediation.
Edgecombe commended parents for ensuring that their children were fully prepared for the new academic year. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Well, we spoke with the Bahamas Union of Teachers Area Vice President Rhoda late this afternoon on why the teachers arrived to school late. He noted that the teachers are public officers and have until 11 o'clock to report for duty to be counted as a full day of work. LaRota says the union decided to treat the teachers of Maurice Moore as a token of their appreciation for all of their hard work and dedication. Police were out in full force as the new school year officially got underway on Grand Bahama. Assistant Commissioner of Police Emrick Seymour says officers were dispatched to the various school zones throughout the island to ensure that law and order was maintained.
Ensure that members of the motoring community are sensitized of the do's and don'ts, particularly in and around school zones. School zones supposed to be 15 miles an hour, and so members of the motoring public will be reminded of that, and also to be handing out safety tips to the parents of the school kids and of course the students themselves. If the parents, I remind them again as I reminded them last year. You need not speed. What you need to do is leave home in an appreciable time so that you can drive within the speed limit to drop your kids off to school, and of course, which would definitely ensure their safety.
Now, officer in charge of the Traffic Division, Assistant Superintendent Kenwood Taylor, says some areas of concern are still a challenge. He says many people are still not using their seat belts.
Just last week, we've had a child ejected from the vehicle Thank God that child is doing very well. But that is one of our concerns. And persons riding bicycles without reflectors and lights in the evenings, that's another one of our concerns. We are also concerned about persons traversing the street, utilization of the pedestrian crossing. Persons are not using the pedestrian crossings properly. We are also asking for the motoring public to please be mindful that kids are on the streets and they are walking sporadically, they are playing.
Now, Taylor says motorists are still texting and applying makeup while driving, and this, he says, is a major concern. The Minister of Education, Jerome Fitzgerald, says he was satisfied that the necessary repairs have been carried out and schools were ready to receive thousands of students today. However, the minister says there is a small challenge with staffing on this island.
A couple areas where we have challenges with the recruitment of staff. One is art. Music is an issue. Not that we don't want music teachers. We have a real need for them. The question is just finding those who meet the criteria for the qualifications to teach music. You would also appreciate that the requirements for teaching the public schools are much more stringent than in the private schools. And so we have a certain criteria that they must be at before we consider them. And so that poses challenges for us sometimes. And of course, there's always a challenge with math teachers.
Well, the education minister said some 120 new teachers were hired last school year, and many of them, he notes, were Bahamians. But he says the ministry is often faced with having to fill vacancies at the beginning of the new year.
Resignations on school opening day. Teachers actually, believe it or not, resign the day school opens. And this happens every year. It's not something new. So for whatever reasons, it causes us a problem. We have to scramble within the first week to try and fill vacancies. It's unfortunate. We're hiring quite a bit from College of Bahamas in areas where we need them, but we still have foreign teachers coming in, particularly in the specialized areas, English language, mathematics, and in the sciences. And I don't know if we'll ever totally get away from that. I think we have taken the view that an educational system requires different cultures and different personalities, and although we want to ensure that Bahamians are given first preference, first opportunities, I don't know whether or not we'll ever have sufficient complement to totally do away with foreign teachers.
In other news, police officials are investigating a shooting incident that has left a male in West Grand Bahama hospitalized. The incident reportedly occurred shortly before 2 a.m. on Monday morning. Police say a male was at a bar in West End when an occupant of a gray Nissan Maxima discharged a firearm, resulting in the 22-year-old male receiving gunshot wounds to the chest and the left hand. The victim was taken to the West End clinic and eventually to the Rand Memorial Hospital by EMS personnel, where he is listed in stable condition. Police are investigating this matter. Also, police are searching for a male suspect who robbed a Freeport resident of $1,500 in cash and a gold chain. The incident reportedly occurred around 10 o'clock on Friday. The victim, who resides in the South Bahamia area, was reportedly awakened by a man who was armed with a handgun and robbed him. Police are appealing to members of the public who may have any information that can assist the police in locating the suspect to contact them as soon as possible. And police are also searching for a male suspect who robbed a Grand Bahama resident of a laptop, computer, and cell phone valued at $365. The incident reportedly occurred on Friday, August 30th at 6 a.m. The victim told police that while walking in the area of Lafayette Gardens, he was attacked from behind by an unknown man who punched him in the face several times. Police say the culprit then reportedly fled with his black shoulder bag containing the victim's laptop and cell phone. The suspect is described as having dark complexion, tall, medium build with twisted hair, and is clad in a black short sleeve shirt, blue long jeans pants, and red and black Nike tennis. Police are appealing to members of the public who may have any information that can assist in locating the suspect to contact them at telephone numbers 350-3107 or 8-911-919 or call your nearest police station. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, continues right after this.